In this video, we are going to talk about why you want to control your feelings as a fearful avoidant. I am Pauline and I am so happy you are here because feelings is such an important topic. I talk about it a lot, and that is not without reason because as a fearful avoidant, you probably think, most do, that when you control your feelings, so when you just have the feelings that you want to have at the intensity that you want to have them, with the longevity that you want to have them, that then all will be well, that then you will be safe. While it's actually more accurate that when you accept all your feelings as they are, that will probably bring you way closer to the moment where you feel like all is well and where you have that unshakable peace that just can't go anymore. So that is a big difference. That is a big distinction. And I remember so vividly when somebody asked me, a therapist asked me, so what do you think it looks like when you're healed? And I said, well, then I would just have calm and peace and that would be it. And what I saw was almost like a monk, Buddhist, Zen kind of state where I would be in all the time. And she said, could it be that actually that place of healing is where you just allow all your feelings to be there? And have that human experience. I don't know if she put those words to it, but that was what I realized or learned later on, that it's actually quite human to have emotions and have feelings. And I remember when she said that, I almost got a little bit mad and I thought, nope, I am not accepting this. I am going to find a way where I can get into that Zen, peaceful state and not have any negative emotions or feelings anymore. I wanted to say not have to deal with negative feelings and emotions anymore, but I don't think I had the self-reflection or the consciousness to see that that was actually what I didn't want, to have to deal with it. So I really did try to find a way around this. I really did try to just not have any negative feelings anymore. And I did that through meditation, focusing on the positive feelings. I did that through affirmations. I did that through EFT, the emotional freedom technique, which I talk about a lot on this channel, which is an amazing, super powerful tool that can actually help you release negative emotions and negative feelings. So I thought, well, this is it. This is like the holy grail. And this will allow me to never have negative feelings anymore. I wanted to just be happy and just feel that calm and peace that at that point felt so, so, so far away. And as I continued on my healing journey, this became such a point of frustration for me because I kept running into having these negative feelings and negative emotions, and then getting so frustrated that I wasn't healed yet and thinking this will never happen for me. I'm just too broken. I will never be able to do this. Other people can do it, but I won't be able to. And that kept happening till at some point I thought, you know what, maybe I'm looking at this in a wrong way. That really took a lot of time and a lot of healing in and of itself, and I think some maturity, having to grow up a little bit. And then I kind of thought, well, I am trying so hard to just not feel all of these things that I label as negative, but what if I would just not care if they are here or not? And I remember when I really thought that and I really let that sink in, it kind of hit me in that moment. That happens, you know, once you're ready, sometimes you get that insight. And I just felt this freedom. It just liberated something in me because up till that point, I thought that I had to fix everything, that I had to release everything. Healing can become a kind of a way of fixing yourself and fixing something that is not broken. And when I realized that I didn't have to release every single negative feeling or emotion, every bit of trauma that was inside of me, That was so liberating. And I think I wasn't ready to really see that or feel that beforehand. So when you're watching this and you think, no, no, I'm gonna find a way around this, please do, because that will be your healing journey. And um, every healing journey is different. So don't just take it as truth from me, but I just wanted to share what I've learned when it comes to feelings. So when I started just accepting my feelings and not really caring whether they were negative, but also not really caring whether they were positive, that really helped me to shift towards that calm and that unshakable peace. There was much more that went into that. This is not the only thing, but I do think it was an important part of it. And there definitely is a place for healing a lot of trauma. I mean, in in my crash state of the fearful avoidant, which lasted for years, for 4, 5, 6 years maybe, um, there was just so much turmoil. There was so much fear and anxiety. I don't think I was able to just allow those feelings to be there, and I don't think it would be as healing because there was a lot of other things I had to learn and there was trauma to be released. But why I'm telling you this is that because on your healing journey, you will always run into new things, new negative emotions, new negative feelings, new triggers, associations. And that can become very, very, very frustrating if you believe that being healed means you are calm and zen like all the time. That's not what being healed is. I will talk to you, I will explain what it does feel like in a minute, but I'm already talking a lot and I have points here, so I'm going to the points. So, one of the reasons why you want to control your feelings as a fearful avoidant is fearful avoidants tend to put feelings on a pedestal and tend to see feelings as absolute truth and therefore a compass. So, what this means is that when you feel negative, in whatever way, you might feel anxious, you might feel angry, you might feel irritated or frustrated, you see that as okay, I'm I believe this is about the relationship, so that is truth. And when you feel negatively about something, yeah, it is wrong, and that is truth. And therefore your fear brain might go to, well, then I have to break up because you put feelings on a pedestal, because you find them so important. You see it as a compass and you think, oh, I have all these negative feelings about my relationship, then my relationship must be wrong, and so I have to break up. And there's a lot of things not wrong with this picture, but it's not leading you towards happiness. First of all, putting feelings on a pedestal really is a recipe for a lot of pain, actually, down the line. Um, you probably want to feel certain emotions and feelings very intensely, like happiness or being in love or passion, because you think you will find safety in that. Your fear brain believes that when you have that much passion, you feel in love to that extent, then everything will be well. Then everything will be okay. You know for sure that this is the relationship for you. You know for sure that this is the one. And so it can't go wrong and nothing bad can happen. So you're looking for safety in the extremity of your feelings. And you also have just as much resistance towards the negative feelings. And therefore, you put them on a pedestal too. You really do not want to feel anxious. You really do not want to feel sad. You really do not want to feel anger. And so you're giving them a lot of power. Whenever anything that resembles fear or sadness or anger comes up, you tense up and you want to just get that thing that is triggering that away. You want to run away. You want to get those feelings out of your system. And therefore, you're giving them a lot of power, because not giving them power would look like you just allowing that feeling to come up, maybe noticing it, acknowledging it. I'm feeling a bit sadness right now. I'm feeling a bit of fear right now. And just allowing that feeling to be there and not doing anything with it. And this, what I just explained, is almost like a pro level of healing the fearful avoidant attachment style, because there's so many layers of fears around feelings and letting feelings come up. And that's logical, because my second point is that you probably have a lot of stories, associations, and meaning that you attach to those feelings. So, for instance, sadness is weakness, fear is weakness, anger is bad because you hurt others when you're angry. There's stories around that. When I'm angry, I'm a bad person. This is very like black and white. It's probably a little bit more subtle than that, and it's probably also not something you're very conscious of. But when you start kind of noticing it, you will see that there's a lot of stories around it. And the reason why you don't notice them right now is because they are truth to you. You think that when you feel anxious, something bad will happen, for instance. You feel like when you are annoyed with your partner, you have to break up with them. You think that's just truth. And therefore, you can't see that it's just stories that you have created, that your fear brain has created, and that it's meaning associated to things that are actually just sensations. And it can be that you hear this and it almost like either makes you a little bit angry or very uncomfortable, because now you're losing your compass. Now you're losing that thing that you're always seeing as the answer or the truth or something you have to follow. Like, follow your heart. You have to follow whatever feels good. And this, for fearful avoidance, is the worst advice ever. I could make a whole video on that, just that. Because when you have a lot of trauma, and when you have a lot of trauma specifically related to feelings, hearing somebody say you just have to follow your heart, that just does not work. It does not fly. And that will send you off into analyzing your feelings and obsessively thinking about your feelings and checking to see whether they are there, whether it's intense enough, whether they're going away or not. You're trying to control your feelings so badly. So that is what I mean by control. I didn't explain that you want certain feelings to be there intensely, and be there all the time. And you're so afraid of them going away. You're so afraid of feeling negative feelings. So that's what I mean by control. You're trying to pick and choose the feelings you want to have, and they have to be there all the time. That's exhausting. It's exhausting, because that's just not the nature of feelings. Nature of feelings is that they come and go, like ebb and flow, like the sea. That can be very scary if you're wanting that control so badly. So why feelings are so triggering, I will probably make a whole video on that too in the future. If you want to, let me know in the comments. I will. There's a lot of trauma. The fearful avoidant attachment style, out of all 4 attachment styles, has probably usually the most trauma. And as a child, when you endure trauma, you're very powerless. You cannot leave the situation. You are completely dependent on your caregivers. So usually trauma is created in that situation. And all those negative feelings that you then feel as a child are so much more overwhelming and so much more scary, because you feel so powerless. You can't really do anything about it. So when something gets triggered, and let me give you a concrete example. It could be that when you were a child, you were bitten by a dog. And that just was such a scary moment. It might have really hurt, and you didn't know what to do, and you were just so scared. Then when you encounter a dog as an adult, it could be that it triggers those same emotions. So you get really scared, really anxious. You kind of want to run away from the dog. And it's not the same dog. It's a different dog, but it triggers the same emotional response as it did when you were younger. And this is roughly what happens in relationships because you have that trauma that stems from your childhood in a position where you were very powerless. You now have another relationship because it's also a relationship and connection. And even though it's a completely different person, it's a very different situation. It's a very different dynamic because you're now equals when it's a romantic relationship. It can still trigger a lot of fear and anxiety and sadness and anger, um, just because there's still that memory of the trauma in your system. Different situations, but there are parts of it that look the same, and so that gets triggered. And therefore, those feelings feel very overwhelming, and because you didn't know how to handle that as a child, when those same feelings come up, you're so scared because you still feel like you don't know what to do about it. It still feels overwhelming. It's kind of stuck in that childlike, powerless state. And coming from that, another reason why you want to control your feelings is because you probably never learned to process them. You never learned by example from your caregivers by them explaining it to you how to process emotions and feelings. You probably never heard, hey, it's okay. It's okay, whatever you feel. That's totally fine. I'm here with you. These big emotions, these big feelings can be quite scary, but I'm here with you. That would be your caregiver or parent guiding you through those big emotions. And it could also be that this is what securely attached people a lot of times have, either that or they model the behavior for you. So they say, whew, I'm feeling a little bit angry right now. Let me just take a deep breath and let me just take a minute and I'll be right back. That is modeling very healthy processing of emotions. And a lot of people with a fearful avoidant attachment style never had that example or that guidance in the moment that it was needed. And so what possibly happened when you were experiencing big emotions is that your parent lashed out, or they disapproved of you, or they called you names, or they humiliated you, or they made you feel like you were wrong, or you were different, or you were a crybaby, or you were weak, or you have to man up, don't be a pussy. It's all these things that people say out of their own pain that made you feel like your feelings were something that made you a bad person, that made you deserve this kind of treatment. And so it's so logical that when feelings come up, whatever feelings they are, you are going to suppress them. You are going to suppress all those negative feelings, all those feelings of sadness, all those feelings of fear and vulnerability. It's just not safe to feel them because what you experienced as a child was being rejected and being abandoned and maybe even physically threatened when you were experiencing these big emotions. So you not only never learned how to process them, which just the absence of that guidance and that modeling that behavior can already make it very uncomfortable to deal with emotions, but you probably also had some form of rejection or abandonment around big feelings. So it's so logical that whenever something comes up, your body just kind of goes into mode. Nope, we're not doing that. We're not feeling that. That's not safe. And what then happens is that you start creating stories and associations around it that have a place in your current reality because that is what you can control. And so you think, oh, this is my relationship, so I have to break up, I have to run away, I have to get out of this relationship because I'm feeling all these negative feelings. Another reason why feelings feel so scary to you is that feelings usually are used as manipulation by a fearful avoidant parent or caregiver. So it could be that they got angry to teach you a lesson, to correct you, to make you into the version that they thought you had to be accepted by the world. Um, Guilt is also a big thing in a lot of fearful avoidance. So using guilt as a way to, again, kind of make you into the version they wanted you to be or thought you had to be accepted. That is all emotional manipulation. I made a whole video on emotional manipulation, so you can look that up. But therefore, it is so logical that you feel like feelings are very important. If your parent keeps saying, well, now you're making mommy sad. Do you want to make me sad? No, you don't want to do that, do you? Well, that's making emotions very big and very overwhelming and frightful. And so you're very afraid to make somebody else feel certain emotions. Interestingly enough, um, you're mostly afraid of doing something wrong and making somebody else angry or sad without you noticing it. And because control is so important for fearful avoidance, what you see a lot is that you might actually get angry or create those feelings consciously, because then you have the control. You know what you did wrong. Instead of you really trying your best and somebody getting angry or sad, that is way worse for most fearful avoidance. So there's two things in this whole why you want to control your feelings. There's the feelings and there's the control. And both are very important for the fearful avoidant that hasn't healed yet. So to round this off, gosh, it's a long video. What being healed specifically in this area looks like is that I now can allow feelings to be there. I'm not suppressing anything. Sometimes I'm just focused on other things and I feel something, I feel sensations, and I'm noticing that I'm sometimes automatically suppressing them a little bit, and then I just take a moment to allow them to really be there. But usually I just allow all my feelings to be there. And there is not one feeling that I am afraid of right now. Not guilt, not shame, not sadness, nothing. Even the very worst feelings are just feelings. And that is just so incredibly liberating and empowering. On the other hand, I don't really become very attached or try to hold on to positive feelings. I don't put those on a pedestal. Me being with my husband is not based on me being super happy all the time and super in love all the time and checking if those feelings are there, if they are still there. That to me right now, even though that was my reality 24/7, 10 to 14 years ago, thinking about that right now, I see how unstable of a base that is. If I base my being with him solely on what I am feeling in the day to day, gosh, we would we would either break up and come back together a lot, or yeah, it would just not. It's quicksand that you're building a castle on, and we are building something, and you have to do that on a stable base, and feelings are just not a stable base, because they come and go, because they change day by day, because they are influenced by how I feel and how stressed I am about other things in my life, and how I'm dealing with other things that are going on. So, and also how much time I'm and attention I'm putting into my relationship. I mean, if I'm only working and I'm not seeing my husband, it's very logical that my feelings kind of taper off. You got to invest in anything that is valuable to you, and it's the same with love and marriages. And I've really learned this from all the couples that I've interviewed for my first book, The 100 Couples That Were Happily Married Over 40 Years. That's what they all said. You do have to invest, and basing your choice on feelings is just not a good idea. It's not a stable base. That's not to say that you then just have to marry the first person that walks through the door. It's just that um, just basing your choices on feelings, that's not a very good compass, because you can influence your feelings, and your feelings are influenced by so many things. Okay, like I said, I can talk for hours about this. I can just go on and on and on. If you're interested in this topic, if you want to know more, please let me know in the comments below, and I will make more videos on that, because yeah, I could. And if that's valuable to you, I love to do that. So this is what we do in my online program, Healed and Happy. You will release all the resistance and all the negative associations you have around feelings, so that it feels safe to be in your body and to feel those feelings and get to that calm and that unshakable peace way faster than you think now is possible. It's just a matter of releasing the right things, not all the trauma, not all the negative associations, but the ones that are driving this wanting to control your feelings. And that will open up so much space for you to just enjoy your life and to start investing in yourself and in your relationships, and really build something beautiful, because that is what you deserve. That is what you are worthy of. If you want to know more about the online program, please check the link in the description below. And let me know if this was valuable to you. I always want to know, and I will see you in the next one.